Okay. Let me see. Can anybody see my screen? Okay, I guess so. I guess we can all see this.
Yeah, we can see your screen. I can see your screen.
All right. So yes, data analytics. Data analytics. What is data analytics? I know in my introduction I have done some, you know, sort of um, dive into what we do as business analysts, right? So data analytics refers to the process. It's a process actually, or take it as a journey. If you want to travel from Port Harcourt to Lagos, first thing you need to leave your house, and then from leaving your house you need to get to the park, or if you're taking a flight you need to get to the airport. So it's a journey, it's a process. So the same thing goes with data analytics. So I wrote here that data analytics refers to the process of examining data sets to draw conclusions about the information they contain. That's it. That's all. That's all we do as data analysts or as business analysts. So you have a data set from a store or a a business. It could be a store, it could be a church, it could be, I mean, any business. And so when you have been given that data, first off, they will tell you why they want to, uh, why they are giving you the data, right? It could be they want to find out why lots of persons are not coming to church, or why people are not using the online services or something. So it comes from an idea. So that's where the data analytics process starts. First off, you're trying to figure what you want to achieve. That's where data analytics actually starts from. It doesn't start from you using the tools. You need to define the problem. In the next slide, we're going to see the different processes in data analytics. All right. So, like I said, it refers to the process of first examining. Let's take away the examining. Examining looks like an ambiguous word. Let's use the word look. So you're actually looking at the data set. You're looking at the data to draw out conclusions about what this data is saying. All right? That's just the simple definition of data analytics. And then, I now wrote again that data analysis techniques enables you to take raw data and then uncover patterns to extract valuable insights from it. So, I keep people keep inter switching between data analytics and data analysis. They mean two different things. Data analytics refers to the entire process. That is the process of examining the data sets and then drawing out conclusions about what that data set is trying to say. However, data analysis refers to a subset. Data analysis is a part of the process. So it is a subset of the whole data analytics process that ensures that this data that is in your hand, you are able to say, oh, okay, based on this data, we have 50% of participants who joined the call are females, and then 50% are males. So that process of you trying to bring out information, you trying to say, oh, okay, the reason people are no more coming to church is because of proximity to church. They don't have transport. The economy is bad, or all of it. So that process, that act of you trying to draw out information, that is data analysis. Again, data analytics is the entire process. But data analysis is the part of the process that deals with trying to bring out those informations. All right? So like I said, in the next slide, we're going to see the different processes, the different stages in data analytics that, that makes up data analytics. So here I wrote that data can be used to analyze several aspects of your process. You can use data to, number one, find the biggest problems to focus on, diagnose the current process, where are we, how are we doing in the business, uh, what's been going on, how has it been over the years. So you're trying to find out what's going on. So data can actually be used to diagnose this current process. And then, now that we've been able to find out where we are, should we move on or should we still keep doing what we are doing? So data helps you to actually achieve or answer some of these questions. I also wrote here that the benefits of data analytics could be, number one, improved decision making. And this is the core aim, this is the sole aim why we are business analysts or why we are data analysts. We just want to ensure that whoever is doing this, whoever owns the business, whoever is at the helm of affairs, they are able to make what? Perfect decisions, informed decisions based on the data that we have gotten. And then for more effective marketing, I think in one of the slides that I will definitely go into, I created a scenario where a firm, they're trying to go into marketing. And they see that they have been pumping money into a particular channel of marketing. But it's not yielding, yes, it's yielding some profits, but the amount of expenditure is more than the profits they are yielding. So definitely they are running at a loss. Right? So the benefit of data analytics in that business now would be to, you as the data analyst, or you as the business analyst, you now go to the director, whoever is at the helm of our affair, the MD, and say, Baba, CEO, based on the data we are getting, we are spending 10 naira on marketing. But at the end of the day, the profit we are getting from the marketing is 2 naira. That is a loss of minus 8 naira. So that is your job basically as a business analyst, as a data analyst. You're just helping the business to do what? Make informed decisions. All right? And then for better customer service, I'm sure most times when we try to use some applications, maybe your bank app or I don't know, some applications, once you're done, you just get a pop-up message saying, please rate our services. Why are they trying to get that data? Because they want to see how they can make their services better for you as a user to use. All right. So, for more efficient operations, I love to use this scenario. Those who are in the rural areas, they use firewood to cook rice. I have no problems with that. It's a good, in fact, the rice cooked with firewood is even sweeter than the one you use the gas cooker to cook. However, that takes time. That takes energy. In fact, most times, by the time you finish even using that one to cook, you that cook the food, you may not even have appetite to eat again. But then, these guys came up with rice cooker. All you need to do is put your rice in there and then plug it to electric or something, and then it cooks your rice for you at ease. Now, what have they done? They have made that process efficient. While the rice cooking with firewood may be effective, but it's not efficient. So efficient has to do with, it is being done well, but then it's also done well with time. It's done well as fast as possible. So that's where data analytics now comes into play. It ensures that you not only do your job well, but it ensures that you do your job on time. All right? So That's one of the benefits of what? Data analytics, more efficient operations. All right. So I don't know if we have any questions with what I have just said so far before we move on to the next slide. Do we have any questions? Let me see. Any hands up? If we don't have, I think we'll just move on. All right. Okay.
Hello.
Yes,
Sorry.
please. Yes, please.
Hello.
Go ahead. I can hear you.
Please, can you explain more of the data analysis?
The data analysis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the analytics, the analysis, data analysis.
All right. So I'm going to do that here. Now, in this next slide, um, yeah. So this is the process of data analytics. And the first process is define the problem. So you have been employed, and your boss comes to tell you, okay, so we have an issue. We notice that um, clients come in, the rate at which clients buy our products online has reduced drastically compared to how it has been over the years. So that is the problem. That is where your data analytics process has started. Remember I said if you want to travel from Port Harcourt to Lagos, the first thing is you need to leave your house. Then you go to the car park or you go to the airport. So here in data analytics, it is the problem. What do you want to solve? For those who may be research analysts, somebody wants to solve a problem in his project. It could be finding the correlation of plantar arc. That was my project topic in my first degree. Plantar arc in University of Port Harcourt students who want to find out. So plantar arc is this arc on your foot, right? We want to see if it is being correlated with those who are Uniport students and all that. So that's the problem. That is what I want to solve. So now that I have defined the problem, the next thing is you want to go and collect the data that should solve that problem. You don't want to be collecting data that are irrelevant. So I want to go and find out why, if the plantar arc is correlated to Uniport students, and then I am going to ask them if they are married or what church do they attend. Those are not relevant, right? So in data collection, you want to actually collect the right sets of data. Now that you have collected data, the next thing you want to do is what? You want to clean the data. And I don't mean with soap and water, right? I don't mean with soap and water. But cleaning the data means definitely there are going to be inconsistencies. So take, for example, you send out a form, and then in the place of gender, you tell people, okay, I need you to fill if you're a male or a female. And then somebody is writing a male with a double M. When you're trying to go and analyze that data now, all right, you would have a bit of inconsistencies, because whatever tool you're going to use is going to see the correct thing, and it's also going to see the wrong male. So you as the analyst now, it's your job to actually make sure those things are what's corrected. So that is the case of what? Cleaning the data. The next step, after you have cleaned the data, the next step is now what? Data analysis. So here I want to answer your question, Fortune. So this entire process is called what? Data analytics. However, the process of data analysis, these are techniques that you are going to use to draw, because at this point, from step 1 to step 3, we've not started finding out what's going on in the data. So the process of you now trying to find out, oh, okay, the number of persons who filled these forms, 30% of them are from the West. or 20% are from the east. So that process of you trying to uncover those patterns, trying to find out the information embedded in the data that has been given to you, is that process is called data analysis. Have I answered your question, Fortune?
Yes, you have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now that you have analyzed the data, you now want to visualize and share your findings. So you now want to start putting, okay, you have decided, or your data has told you that you have about 1,000 persons who filled this form. So you want to create a dashboard, or you want to create a report to say, okay, based on this data, these are the number of persons we got. These are the number of persons that are females. This is a chart showing the male participants as related to what? The female participants. Or this is also a chart showing the number of persons who are walk-in customers or who are online customers, you know. So that is you trying to do what? Visualize and share your findings. All right? So moving on, why is data insights important? So data insights are the knowledge that an individual or a company gains from what? Analyzing sets of information pertaining to a given topic, situation, and it is used to help business make informed decisions and reduces risk that comes with trial and error testing methods. Forget about this English I just spoke. Simply put, the knowledge you have gotten from the data after analyzing, it is now used to ensure that the business is making progress. The business is making informed decisions. The business has improved. So that process of the information being used, being put to good use, that is data insights. Or that is the process of data insights, simply put. I also try to differentiate between data insights, or rather information, and insights. So information is transactional. I can just come and tell you, okay, based on this data, the number of persons who fill this form there are about 1,500. We have 30% female, 70% male. That is an information. But when it now becomes an insight, I now need to now start explaining to you that, so based on this data, we have about 70 persons who are male. So it means that the bulk of our customers are males. And so we should see how we can create more channels to reach out to the female staff. Sorry, the female clients. So we can get them, onboarded on our solution. Or, okay, based on the feedback we got from our clients, we noticed that male customers, they enjoy using the solution better off. Maybe because we stream more of football matches compared to Hollywood movies or Bollywood movies or Nollywood movies. So I've not just given them an information. I'm not giving them insights to what can actually change their direction to the way decisions are being made. So I wrote here that insight from data, if derived correctly, is what? Transformational. So I'm trying to transform the way things have been. I also wrote here that information from data is more like a summary of what is happening. But insights answer why this and this is happening. People are coming to buy our umbrellas from May to August because it is raining season. I did not just stop at the number of people who buy our umbrellas between May and August increased. No, I'm giving you reasons why it actually increased at that particular time frame. So then it now becomes a what? An insight. All right? I also said insight helps us derive tangible action items that we can employ to derive great business or financial value. The whole essence of businesses is to make what? Money. Is to make profit. And so if your insights are not helping your business or your employers to actually make the right decisions, sorry to say, you may be fired very soon. All right. So it's your duty as the business analyst, as the data analyst, to do what? Ensure that, okay, this is a problem we have seen. How do we solve it? How do we ensure that we're not just running at loss, but we see how we can do what? Increase in profit. All right? So, how do we turn data to actionable insights? I'm just going to try and rush over this, right? So that we can move on. Measure the right things. You want to, based on the problem you have been given to solve, you want to collect data that should be able to answer what? Those questions. And so you want to measure the right things. You want to ask the right questions to stakeholders. The stakeholders, their own is, they come with the ideas. They come with the problem. They tell you this is what we want to solve. So you as a data analyst, you as a business analyst, you should be able to ask the right questions to the stakeholders and say, okay, based on this problem we want to solve, how and what have been done so far? How should we tackle this? How should we, so it should be an interaction. And then you want to use segmentations to drive actions. Segmentation in the sense that you can decide to, okay, we want to get data from a particular church or a particular business. So you want to segment, okay, these are the online audience. These are the walk-in customers. So you should be able to use segmentation to say, okay, based on these walk-in customers, this is the decision we want to make. Then based on these guys who are online customers, these also are the decision we ought to, make. And then you want to use clear visualization to convey your message. You want to also discover the context of your data set. Make sure to establish context for the data you are seeing. So if you're working on the data for probably the effects of shoe size in a particular region, so your data should be around shoes, around the shoe industry, the shoemaking industry. You shouldn't go elsewhere to go and be, okay, we're talking about shoe and then we are seeing the price of tomatoes has an effect on shoe. No, it doesn't really make any sense, right? So you want to have a context. You also want to tell, your insight should also be able to tell definitions to numbers. So if we are seeing, okay, 700 persons as a data card in your dashboard, we want to be able to, at first insight, know what those numbers mean. Does it mean that we are doing well? Does it mean we are running at a loss? And all of that. So we want to be able to just see at a glance, what do these numbers, mean? Are they important? Should the business be scared about the numbers? Does it really affect the business and all of that? And how is the data collected? So these are just basic, how to turn data into actionable insights. So I'm going to, try to hurry up a bit for now. The anatomy of an insight. So I think we would have time for question and answers at the end of this session, so that we don't, go back and forth. Or you can always note your questions somewhere, so that when time comes for that, we can answer. Business intelligence, business analytics. So sometimes I get these questions: who are business analysts, or who are business intelligence analysts, and all of that. So the business intelligence refers to the procedural and technical infrastructure that collects and stores and analyzes the data produced by a company's activities. The difference between a business analyst and a data analysis are these words here. company's activities. So why a data analyst would be seen to be a broad analyst, somebody who just analyzes, could just be any data. It could be just any data, right? But a business analyst now, or a business intelligence analyst, his job has been streamlined to a particular sector, a particular domain. That's where you now hear of someone, okay, I'm a healthcare analyst, I'm a marketing analyst, I'm a research analyst, or I think somebody mentioned Web3 just now, I'm a Web3 analyst. So your domain, so whatever you're going to be analyzing has to be narrowed down to that sphere. That's what's it called? That domain of knowledge. So when you're going to be writing your report, you shouldn't just be seeing any random words. If you're a healthcare analyst, you should be seeing words like, okay, the number of bed spaces in the hospital is has decreased or has increased, or the number of doctors who come in who work at night has increased due to the pay is also increased for night workers and all of that. So you're now being streamlined to the healthcare sector. But then the data analyst could just be, just random guy, right? Or any random person. Just he's been I don't want to use the word vague, but he's just more like on the surface level. So the research analyst now is going to be thinking of, oh, okay, this is your project work or this research work I want to do. What are the terminologies? What are the things that should be used in this field? Right? So that is just the difference between who a data analyst is and then who a business analyst is. Right? So you're working based on that particular company's activities. So, the anatomy of an insight. You need to answer 3 different questions. What happened? Why did it happen? And how should we react? What happened? Why did it happen? And how should we react? So I have an illustration here. We have some examples here. The first example says, this week we sold 80 units of product X. So this is just telling us what has happened, what went on. But it's not giving us the full brief. It's not giving us context as to, okay, what made you sell product X? Or what made you sell, why do you have 80 units only, 80 units only that's been sold? So let's look at the second question. The second question said, the second example. This week we sold 80 units of product X plus 5%, while expense increased 20% over the same period. So it means that we've been able to put in context why we made 80 units of products. Why we are having 80 units of products here sold. So compared to last week, we sold 5% more of the products that we sold last week. So I'll begin to put this into context. All right. So this is an actual insight. So I'm not telling you that last week we sold minus 5% of what we are selling in this new week. However, look at our expenditure. Our expense increased 20% over the same period. So I wrote here that this has explained what happened, and has also provided some context in terms of weekly change between last week and this week. And then we've also been able to establish a comparison between the weekly change against expenditures. But then again, it does not explain what drove the sales or the spend increase. So let's look at this next one here. This one says, this week, we sold 80 units of product X plus 5%, while increase in expense was 20% over the same period. Now, I want to explain why we got that. New advert placements drove incremental sales. I've answered the question of why we got 20%. But I've not finished. Why do we have 20% as against what we are having here as 5%? So it means if we sold 80 units of products, it means the amount of money we are spending on marketing, we are not even seeing profit, because 20% minus 5%, that's 15%. We are even running at a loss doing this marketing campaign. And so I wrote here, the reason this is because at a cost of $50 per sale versus the $15 benchmark. So we ended up running adverts of $50 per every advert per 1 unit of product. Against, in the budget, what was budgeted was what? Just $15. But then we ended up running $50 per unit. And then, if we keep doing that for 2-3 months, we'll run this company down. But then again, this is still not a perfect insight, because we have only explained that the new adverts drove incremental spends and sales at a high cost compared to the benchmark, but we've not recommended to the boss, or we've not recommended to whoever is in charge on what should be done. Let's look at our next slide. Now, you can see my recommendation here. Post new placements, and let's see how we can allocate budgets towards more efficient channels. It's as simple as that. That's my recommendation. But my recommendation may not be so complete here, because you want to also recommend those efficient channels. So let's assume that this company, they were using newspaper marketing, and then they were running at that $50 benchmark. Sorry, the $50 per sale for the marketing. So we can now tell them, okay, so this is our product that we want to sell. We want to sell shoes. Canvas, Nike, Adidas, and then you're going to put the adverts on newspaper. Which young person goes there to read, those adverts? Yes, maybe the increase we got over the week are just parents who, read the newspaper and they want to buy for their children. However, why don't we try out Facebook marketing, Google ads, Instagram ads, all these ones that are cheaper. With $1 you can run an advert on these platforms I have just called. So why don't we try other methods? So what I have done now is I have been able to offer a clear and actionable data-driven recommendation to this company. Remember, we started from just the information, and then we moved into what? The the different insights. Okay, so please do well to jot down your questions if you have any, so that we don't miss them out. In summary, a strong insight tells us a clear story and addresses the what, the why, and the how. It is supported by hard data, not guts or feelings. So this is what the data is telling us. I won't say because my elder sister is the MD of that newspaper publishing company. So because of that, I want to keep patronizing them. You keep patronizing them at the expense of your own company. So you want to follow what the data is saying. If the data is telling you that you are running at a loss, based on this, go ahead and make those informed decisions. So you now see why those decisions are now what? Informed. And then it also provides meaningful context behind key data points. We saw why we had 80 units of product sold. It's because we ran adverts. All right? Because we ran ad. Can you still hear me? Please, can anyone hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. So, you've been able to provide
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
measurable improvement to the and that I see how to break or differentiate between the three of them. So my hello, please, can anybody still hear me? What's
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
We can hear you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Amazing, amazing.
We can hear you, sir.
We can hear you.
All right, amazing. Okay. So I said data analysis, right? Enable is I mentioned that it's a part of a process in the data analytics process that helps you uncover those patterns, that helps you answer those questions. All right? Then data science is a process of collecting, cleaning, analyzing. Now, you see, this is more or less synonymous to what data analytics do. However, I did not stop there. They went ahead to say they interpret large amounts of data. He also did not stop there. They also said they build models that best fit the data for future use. So this is where you now um, appreciate the effect of ChatGPT. You know, by the time you go and ask ChatGPT, "Hi, how are you?" ChatGPT already has an answer. It's already answering you, "I'm fine." Sometimes it will even ask you, "How are you too?" What has happened? A data scientist or series of data scientists, they've been able to build models to say, okay, whenever somebody asks questions like this should be your what? Your reply. So a data scientist does not just analyze data, does not just collect data, does not just clean data. It tries to predict the future. Another instance would be a case scenario of, when you watch the TV and maybe you're watching weather forecasts and all of that, and they tell you, okay, tomorrow the weather is going to be what? Stormy, or the weather is going to be rainy. Please do carry your umbrellas or your rain boots and all of that. Why? Because some data scientists, they've been able to build models that, based on the data we have been getting over the years, at this period, 10, 15, 20 years back, this has been the pattern. And so we can predict that this weather for these days or for this period or for this time is going to do what? Look like this. So again, the data scientist actually uses data to do what? Predict the future. See what's going to happen in the future. Why the data analyst or data analytics focuses more on just viewing the historical data in context. But data science focuses on machine learning and then predictive modeling. You're trying to train a model. You're trying to train a machine to see that based on what we have been seeing over the years, this should be how the future should look like. However, data engineering. What is now data engineering? So, let me paint a scenario again. I'm sure most of us, we all stay in houses, right? And, we have the water tank up ahead. That's outside, But then, we need to call, when the house is being built, we need to call a plumber to do what? That water that is up at the overhead tank, we need to channel some quantity to somebody who's going to use it in the kitchen. We need to channel it another quantity to those who is going to use it in the toilet. Another set of or another quantity of water or another channel of water to those who are going to use it maybe in the bathroom or something. So we want to also note that the size of pipe that will be used to the kitchen is different from the size of pipe that goes to the toilet, or the size of pipe that goes to probably the shower. All right. So this is where data engineers now come into play. So take the data engineers as the plumber. So their job is to, data scientists, you say you need a data for this and this. All right, fine. So my job as a data engineer is to build pipelines that should feed you with that kind of data only. So a situation whereby, as a healthcare data analyst, it shouldn't be the data that should be coming from me as the data engineer shouldn't be marketing data, shouldn't be research data, shouldn't be data from a web analyst. It should be solely for healthcare. Somebody who is a marketing analyst, I should be able to build pipelines to say, from the data that is being gotten, I want to give you only data for what? Research or for marketing. And so, as a data engineer, you have scenarios like you're told to go to Facebook and scrape data for a particular problem. So take, for example, you want to find out why people have issues with healthcare solutions. So as a data engineer, your job is to go to whatever platform you want to go get that data from. It could be Facebook. And then you definitely would now be able to create a pipeline. It could be you'll be using Python. There's a tool called Beautiful Soup. It's a web scraping tool that you just do some coding, and then it goes there, draft anything that has to do with health, and if it sees any tag that relates to health or care or healthcare, it just brings only those data. So that is now the job of the data engineer. His job is to do what? See how he can bring those data so that the data analyst is happy at the end of the day. The data scientist is happy at the end. So you see, everybody needs each other to what? To be able to work. So I wrote here that DE, that's data engineering, is the aspect of DS that focuses on practical applications of data collection. Emphasis on collection, data collection and analysis. They are also responsible for finding trends in data sets and developing algorithms to help make raw data. Because their own job is to ensure that raw data that is coming in, the end user, who is the data analyst or who is the data scientist, is happy, can be able to use can be able to use data at the end of the day. All right. So, moving on. Um, yeah, we have about four types of data analytics. The first is descriptive. I'm just going to try and rush over this, but I mean, to an extent that you can be able to also grasp as well. What's happening? Okay. So descriptive asks what is happening. Again, I'm going to paint a scenario. Um, you feel somehow. Your head is aching you have sour tongue, So somebody asks you what is happening to you. So you now begin to explain, um, this is how I feel, my head is aching, my eyes are turning, So you're trying to explain what is happening. That is where descriptive analytics comes to play. You're just trying to tell them, okay, based on this data, this is what we got. This is what is happening. However, diagnostic, now that you feel those headaches, you feel those symptoms, I mean, in this part of the world, right, the next thing we'll think of is what? Malaria. But then it's only wise, it's only best for you to now say, okay, I need to go to the pharmacist, I need to go run a test. So in running that test now, you now need to now begin to see that, oh, yes, you have malaria, but the malaria is not so much to, cause all of these things. So the pharmacist can now prescribe that you take what? Rest. Or the scientist, whoever ran the test, now describes maybe it could be a typhoid drug or, just any other thing, but it may not be malaria. So that is diagnostic. The person is not telling you this is why it is happening. Probably you've not rested for a long while, or probably you've not been eating well, or you're malnutrited or something. So that is diagnostics. It answers the questions of why this is happening. And then moving on, predictive. So now that you've found out, you've taken that result, you'll now take the result back to doctor and say, doctor, this is what the result said. They said I am, what's going on? It looks like it's malaria. I have a bit of typhoid. The typhoid is high on my system and all of that. So the doctor will not tell you, okay, try to stop taking this kind of water, try to do this and try to do this. Because if you continue to do those things, this is what is likely to do what happen. So predictive analysis is trying to forecast into the future, telling you what is going to happen if you keep doing this, if you keep, doing what you have been doing over the years. So that is predictive analytics. However, prescriptive. Now that you have gone back to doctor doctor will now prescribe some drugs. So you will now need to take that drugs to what? The pharmacist. So it's the pharmacist that will now dispense the drugs to you. So, prescriptive gives you an idea of what you should do, more like recommendations. So it tells you, it's a mix of a mix of the understanding of why this and this happened, what might happen, and going forward, how you should react. Oh, okay, you experience cold at night, try to cover yourself, or try to take this cold pill, or try to, so that is prescriptive. They have now prescribed drugs to you. So the same thing works, in analytics. So you're not prescribing, you're not recommending to the business, okay, instead of using this marketing channel, why not try these other channels, All right. So we're making progress. Please do well to still put your what's it called, your questions down. Do well to put your questions down so that you can be you can ask your questions when time comes. So data collection or injection tools. All right. So these are just basic tools for generating insights. So the first here, I have been able to what's the word now? Categorize them into beginner level, intermediate, and advanced. So for data collection, as a beginner, you want to familiarize yourself with Excel, Google Sheets, data forms, public data sets. Then for intermediate, you now want to go to, in Excel, we have what's called Power Query, what we call pivot tables. Then moving on to querying database with SQL language. You have Microsoft Access as well. Then advanced, you now have API connectors. This is where those data engineering guys come into play. API connectors, web scraping, DB or data lake management, Python programming language. So these are several tools you can use in each of these cadres or each of these categories. And then for data analysis and visualizations, you have the for beginner level, you have Excel, you have Google Sheets. You can also make use of. Then in intermediate, you have, advanced Excel, Google Sheets or Data Studio. You have Tableau, and you have Power BI. All right, and then for for advanced, you have R programming, you have Python for advanced analytics and machine learning. Well, in this course, or in this beginner's guide, what we're going to be dwelling on is Excel. So we have a larger course. We run a school that teach data analytics, that's the full stack analytics. So, during the course of this session, I would also share that with you if that's what you want to be interested in. Right? So, yes, we've come to the end of the rudiments of data analytics, and the next thing we want to go into is Excel for analytics. But before we do that, I would love to, take a few questions now. If you have some questions, kindly raise your hands, then we can answer a few questions before we go into our practical session briefly. Does anybody have questions? Hello? Is anybody there?
No, sir, I don't have any question. I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, please. Okay, so please, you say you don't have questions. So, your data insights are meant to answer three basic questions. Do you mind telling us what those questions are? Yeah, please, are you there? Can anybody else help out? Fortune, can you help out? Mr. Favor, can you help out?
Okay, they are meant to answer what happened,
Okay.
why it happened, and how we react to it.
Oh, amazing.
If I'm correct.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Blessing. Thank you very much. All right, so yeah, a good data insight should answer what has happened, why did it happen, and how should we react to what has happened. All right? Okay, so I'm just going to go into Excel for analytics. So this is just a brief history on Excel. Excel initially used to be multi-plan. In 1982, it was multi-plan, and then it had a competitor at that time, which was VCalc, and then over the years, it became Microsoft Excel, and it became part of the whole Microsoft Office suite. Microsoft Office suite, we have Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Access, Microsoft Publisher, Microsoft Excel. So it's a part of the whole Microsoft Office suite. So I'm not going to dwell so much here. We all know that Microsoft Corporation was founded by Bill Gates and Paul Allen in 1975. So I'm just going to brush over that. And yeah, Microsoft Excel is a popular spreadsheet program developed by Microsoft, blah, 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 blah. It's a crucial tool for professionals in various industries, offering features for data analysis and visualization. Moving on. Why should we use Excel for analytics? One, it is user friendly. Number two, it's its availability. All right. So you know, I mean, everybody basically knows the name Excel because by the time you get a new system, the first thing they want to put on your system is what Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and all of those things. So yes, its availability. Basic statistical functions, pivot tables, charting capabilities, data cleaning tools, formula auditing, and integration with external data sources makes it widely used for routine analytical tasks. So this is why we make use of Excel for data analytics. All right. So yeah, these are basic features of Excel. So Excel is, I think, in the next slide. You should see. Okay, yeah. So this is what Excel looks like. You have the data ribbon. You have the different menus here: file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, the data menu, review, and all of that. And then, so Excel is made up of workbook. So take Excel to be your notebook. All right. When you bring out your notebook, inside that notebook you have different pages. So it's the same thing. Excel, when you open your Excel file, it's a workbook. But inside of that workbook, you have different worksheets. Okay, that's what you have. You can see here worksheet, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, as the case may be. And okay, so the next thing here, we have Excel. Each sheet is made up of columns. You have the columns which are represented in alphabetical orders as A, B, C, as you can see here. So take the columns to be the lines from up to down or from north to south. And then um, your what's it called? Uh, the rows from east to west. That's from left to right. Right? So that is how it is done. And then at any point where a column mixes with a cell, sorry, with a row, it's called a cell. So if you see, this is column H, and this is a row that just ran through across it. So where H meets with the row, this place is called a what? A cell. It's called a cell. So yes, let's move on. So I've explained the column. I've also explained the row. And so we have here that a cell, whenever a cell is selected, it turns green. You have these green borders here like this, which is to say what? It's an active cell. So an active cell is a cell that is being what? Selected. And we've also said this is our row. Okay, that this is the field handle. So when you select a cell, if you look at the far right corner below, you will see a dot like this. That is the field handle. When we go practically, hopefully we are able to do that this evening. Alright? When we go practically, we will see how some of all these tools are being used as a field handle. So if I want to fill all of this here with Excel, okay, let me try something. I'm going to bring this guy here so you can see. Right. So I'm going to come to physics of Excel. Okay. So I'm sure you can see my screen, so I'm just going to expand this a bit. Alright, so if I decide to name this as NOSA, alright. Now remember I told you when you select a cell, you have this icon here. So if I want to fill everything here with NOSA, I don't have to come here and start typing NOSA all through. That's going to be time wasting. So what do? I just simply need to come here, come to this this dot here. When I click on it, I can drag down, and you can see it has filled everything there with what? No, sir. Well, not to worry. I just thought to, ship that in. We're going to go deep into that as the class progresses. So, this is the address bar, and you want to know that each cell here has a name. So the cell name is a combination of the column and the row number. So take for example, this cell that is being selected now, it's called D4 because it's on column D and what? Row 4. So that's why the name of this cell is what? D4. Alright? Moving on. Is there any other thing I didn't touch? Okay, yeah, this is the sheets. These are the different sheets here. But like I said, when we go deep into practicals, we'll be able to see how some of all these things are done. Alright, so here I also mentioned active cell is a cell which is currently selected. And I said a column is a vertical set of cells. And a worksheet has about 384 columns. So what that means is all of these columns you are seeing here, we have about how many thousand again? Where is that file? We have about 16,384 columns in one worksheet. So you see how Excel is very powerful, really. And then you have about 1,048,576 rows. So the rows are enormous. You see why Excel is very... So if you keep scrolling down, you will get to 1 million and something till you keep going down and down. So again, it's part of the reasons why Excel is what used for data analytics. All right. So moving on. Where's our file? Okay. So I just mentioned about the field handle, right? That's what we use. And then Excel range. So Excel range consists of 2 or more adjacent cells. They can be in the same rows. They can also be in multiple, either a mix of rows and columns or different columns. What does that mean? So if I want to select all of these guys now, this is now a range of cells. So if I want to get this, if I want to, what's the word? If I want to reference this cell, everything here, I will just come here and say, so I'll take note of the cell name, the first one and the last one. That is O14, and I think this is O26. So I'll come here and say equals to O14. You can see it has referenced this first cell, and I'll say column O26. Can you see what has happened? So this is now a cell range. This is a cell range. I've been able to reference this entire cell range. So if I say enter, it should give me everything in this cell. So if I decide to change this to, let me use somebody's name here. If I decide to change this to Fortune, because I have referenced this entire range of cells, you can see automatically this has changed here. Not to worry, we're going to talk about cell referencing in the next sheet, so we are on track. But I just thought to chip that in. Right, so let's move on. Let's go. Okay, so I think I had mentioned the ribbon bar and the worksheet tab, the status bar, and quick access bar. Okay, let me show you where that is. So this is the quick access bar. That's this guy here. So if everything here is the quick access bar, but if I want, some of you may not see this auto save feature on yours, or you may not be seeing this save or this undo and redo. However, if you want them to show on your own screen, you just need to click on this customize quick access toolbar, And then you have a range of things you want to show here. So if I don't want my save icon, that's this one, if I don't want it showing here, I just need to uncheck this. And you can see that has gone off. So that's the quick access toolbar. If I want it back, I'll click on this again and say, check this. You can see it has what? Turned on back. So that is how you can manipulate your quick access toolbar. So I guess we're wrapping up with the theory part, because I'm very much eager to delve into the practical session. So data entry in Excel. So there are certain things you just want to note in, especially when you want to start cleaning your data. There are certain things you want to note. So you want to note that in Excel, when you write a text, when you type a text, all texts are usually aligned to the left. So if you get a data and the text is aligned to the right, and then you check your alignment tab on Excel, and you see that it's not aligned to the right, it's actually on normal mode, but you just notice that the data is being aligned to the right, then you want to note that that data has a problem, because automatically in Excel, texts are usually aligned to the left. Let's go try that out and see if we are correct. Now, if I come here and type Excel, you see automatically it is what aligned to the left. But let me type in a figure here, 500. So you see figures are aligned to the what? To the right. So this is how you know when a data is sent to you. Once you just take a note of this, there are sometimes, especially when you want to work with figures, there's some data you will get. You will see that this 5,000 is aligned to the left. Just know that if you want to try and aggregate those figures, it won't work. So aggregation will mean you want to try and sum everything in that figure, in that range of cells. It won't work because Excel is seeing it as a what? As a text. And definitely you cannot add up texts. So there are some functions you need to use to actually clean that data. So let me see if I can just let me use this text, comma, let me see if I use this. Just give me a second. I want to just try and bracket, okay. Now see this figure. Let me try to drag this down. And then I'm going to try to sum this. Can you see what happened? I wanted to sum all of these figures, but it's telling me that, Excel is telling me that this plus this plus this is giving me what? 0. You want to know why? Because Excel is seeing this as a text. And so for me to make this now a proper text, and if you see, if I highlight this, you can see that my alignment here is nothing is selected here. But I cannot sum this up. So I need to convert this back to actual values. So what do? There's a function called values. So equals to value. I will select, so Excel is asking for a text. So I will select this guy and say enter. Now this is is an actual text. So if I drag this down and I say equals to sum, bracket open, I'll select this and say enter. Now I have my actual summation. So this is going to come in handy when you start getting data sets and then you are trying to aggregate those data sets, but could they work? Like, they work at all. So you want to see what is going wrong. Why is it actually going wrong? So let's go back to our slides. Excel is actually very interesting if you actually put your mind to getting it done. So I also mentioned that So numbers are dates, and dates are also aligned to the right. Symbols or alphanumerics are aligned to the left. So these are the default settings in Excel for data entry. However, you can change these alignments if needs be. Okay? So, moving on. I guess this is the end of this. Okay, so we have basic math function here. You have sum, you have average, you have mean or max, you have round equals to round. You want to round off, say you have 27.85867 and you want to round up to just 2 decimal points. So you can use the round off function to round off that with ease. So then you have int, that's integer, round down to a number to the nearest integer. And then the same thing for SQRT, that's square roots. So these are just basic square root functions. And we'll see how we can, when we get to the practical section, I'm just trying to look at the time, but I'm sure we'll do a thing or two. However, it's a promise I want to make that if we are not able to achieve everything today, we'll see how to schedule another class so that we can wrap this off hopefully by next week, Sunday or Saturday. Hopefully that will be communicated to us. Okay, so these are just basic functions, and I thought to mention there are differences between functions and formulas in Excel. So functions are system-defined tools that you use or you make use of to ensure that your data is perfectly done or you want to achieve your goal. So take for example, if we go back to Excel, remember we wanted to sum this guy. I could have come here to say equals to this plus this plus this. Now this is me writing a formula. I am the one defining, so this is user defined. So formulas are user defined tools, while formulas are system defined tools. So if I want to achieve this now using a function, I'm going to say equals to, so the function will be sum. So you can see immediately I wrote sum, Excel brought the what's it called out, the suggestions for me. You can see it has brought series of suggestions and it's asking me which of them do I want to make use of. So I'm going to say I want the sum function. So it's now suggesting, okay, select all the numbers you want. So I'm just going to come here and select all these guys and I'll say enter. So again, formulas are what? System defined, while formulas are user defined. All right. So moving on. So statistical functions in Excel. We have a count. So you want to count the number of cells in an Excel sheet, right? You also have you use the count function. So the difference between the count function and count A or count all is count functions only counts cells that contains values or numbers, but count all counts cells that contains both text and numbers. So if we want to try that out again, if I come here and say equals to count A, and I'll select this range of cells. Remember, these are texts. See, Excel is telling me what? 0. Because count function gives you room to count only what? Texts. Sorry, count functions only gives you room to count. What's happening? I can't see my screen again. Please, can anybody see my screen? Okay, I guess so. Ah. Hello, can anybody hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I can still see your screen.
All right, amazing. Okay. So again, I was trying to differentiate between the count function and the count a function. So now, if I use the count a, that's count all function, equals to count a, bracket open, and I select all of this, you can see it has been able to count all the text, and it's telling me we have about 13 cells here. But if I decide to use the count function, count equals to count, bracket open, and I'll select this one that contains figures. Can you see? It's telling me we have 6, but we have more than 6 here. Remember, we converted these guys to what? Text. So Excel is still not going to count this using the count function. So if you want to count that, then you're going to be making use of the what's it called? The count all. That's count A. And then you have one more, which is the count blank. So count blank, that's not here. But count blank gives you room to count cells that are blank. Alright, so if you want to count empty cells, then you use the count blank function. Alright, so count if you're counting number of cells based on a certain condition. Alright, that's how that works. Then you have sum if, you have average if, you have median, you have mode, and then you have standard deviation. Then you also have conditional formatting as well in Excel. We are going to actually delve into all of this. Alright, but this class was supposed to just span for 2 hours, and I'm going to be sharing the recording of this class soon, and I love that you really go through the recordings so that you can, if you have questions, you can always drop on the group chat. However, we're going to be having um, um, the session for the practical, because this is, I don't want to start now. Where's my slide number there? That's weird. My slide number is at the end. So we're supposed to have. Okay. So the conditional formatting in Excel helps analysts or businesses to visually highlight cells based on certain conditions, and it emphasizes on or differentiates data in spreadsheets based on certain criteria. Conditional formatting makes it easier to identify trends, patterns, or anomalies in your data at a glance. Now let's go to Excel and let's try to see what we want to do here. So we have this data set here. All right, and I want to tell Excel, I want to use conditional formatting to format cells here that are greater than 25. Like all these numbers, all these figures here, any figure that is greater than 25, I want to color it red. So the first thing I want to do is, I'm going to highlight all these cells here. I'll go to, you can see conditional formatting here. I'll click on it, and then I'll click on, I can decide to use highlight cell rules. Alright, so I'm going to say greater than. I'm going to click on greater than. So now it's asking me for format cells that are greater than what? I don't want 47. I want, remember we said any cell that is greater than 25. So I'm going to change this figure to what? 25. And you can see automatically it has actually done what? Selected those cells here. And I'll simply say OK. So at a glance, if I'm making a presentation now, I can easily tell whoever I'm making the presentation to say, hey, okay, so all the cells that are red, they are the figures that are greater than $25,000 or 1,000, and all of that. So these are just ways you can use to actually, visualize your reporting in Excel and all of that. So I want to take questions. Do we have any questions so far before we call it a wrap here? And our next class is going to be on Sunday, same time and same link. Or you'll be if there's going to be change in the link, you're going to have um, the link sent back to you, because I don't want I wanted to just make use of 2 hours. So this is we started at 7 and this is already to 9. So I don't want us to stay longer than that. So yes, any question? Do we have any question on what we have done so far? Hello? Why are we all quiet? Hi. Can anybody hear me? Okay, somebody's hand is raised up. Give me a second. Who is that? Oh, okay. I thought someone's hand was raised up. Do we have any questions? So I'd love for us to take a quiz now. My system is not giving me an answer. Okay, so well, if we don't take that quiz now, on Sunday when we hop on the call again, I'd love, we'll definitely start with that quiz before we go into the practical session on Sunday. All right. So I really do want to thank you all for, I mean, hopping on the call. All right. So, and since we don't have any question, we can call it a wrap for the day. And please do well to drop your, let's know how the session was. If it's something you want to hop on next week, let's know on the group chats. We've all been added to the group chats. So let's drop our thoughts there. So alright, so we're going to be calling the class an end here. So I'll see you next week, Sunday, for the practical session of what we have just done. And I hope to see you there. So it's a good night from me. And please do well to drop your thoughts on the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night. Thank you so much for the class.